Alright Reds, Eddie Gibbs from Anfield Index here, and this is a paid advertisement for BetterHelp Therapy Online. Ever wondered how elite athletes stay on top of their game? It's not just the endless drills or physical training, it's about mastering the mental game. As fans, we relish the thrill of the match, the adrenaline of the competition, but off the pitch, are we keeping our mental fitness in check? Whether it's strategizing your next move in the local leagues, or just staying mentally sharp for a friendly game of weekend football, mental resilience plays a key part. And that's where Better Health comes into play, providing you with online therapy to bolster not just your physical, but also your mental prowess. With BetterHelp, it's like having a personal coach for your mind. Therapy sessions that fit around your training schedule, your games, and your life, all online and all at your convenience. It's about learning strategies to manage stress, enhance focus, and reignite that winning mindset. Signing up is simple. Fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a therapist. Think your needs have changed? Then switch therapists at any time, no extra charge. Over 5,000 therapists in the UK are ready to assist you in playing the best mental game of your life. Rediscover your competitive edge with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/index to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/index. Ready, set, grow. BetterHelp, because the strongest players know the game is also mental.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a one-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
Time to work on your gift list with Black Friday deals at the Home Depot. Right now, get a select tool from top brands like Ryobi and Milwaukee for free when you buy a select battery kit. Choose from reciprocating saws, multi-tools, sanders, and more. Whether you're stocking up on power for your personal workshop or grabbing the perfect gift for someone else's. Get Black Friday tool deals delivered from the Home Depot. Limit 1 per transaction. Exclusions apply. Full eligible tool list in-store and online.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to Molby on the Spot, your weekly chance, thanks to Anfield Index Pro, to hear the wit and wisdom of the man on the other end of the line, Mr. Jan Molby, the Liverpool and Denmark legend that you've all pitched up this evening to hear. So let's welcome him back. Good evening, Jan.
Good evening, Trevor. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm looking forward to this one tonight because it feels like it's been a while without the Reds, and whereas I usually enjoy these breaks, I haven't enjoyed this one because I'm impatient to keep going with this RNA slot era and see where it brings us. There's been a lot of talk, as you can imagine, with a channel like ours where we don't have matches. There's a lot of speculation that goes on. We even did a transfer podcast, myself and Dave Davis, just for the sake of filling in a bit of content, because there are rumours going around. Nobody really wants to talk about transfers, Jan, really, until it's a thing. What we want to talk about is matches and wins and all the rest. But we're back on the road to that now. It's nice to be looking ahead to fixtures, and it's another crazy run now up to the halfway point of the season fixture. What is it that we need to get to 19? Is that right? It's a wild run. We start with what should be a winnable game, but again, international break hangovers. We had almost gotten rid of that thing, Ian, as a thing, as we did with almost everything that used to plague Liverpool in the Klopp era. We gradually got rid of everything, the Saturday morning thing, the midweek thing, all these things that were like, oh, Liverpool never, blah, blah, blah. We put all those ghosts to bed, or laid all those ghosts. It's a new manager. Perhaps there's a new sort of setup here, especially when it comes to training. We know that this periodization is going on. International break can really, pardon my French, fuck that up. And I'm worried, Jan, about that aspect of things after a fortnight for most of our lads away from home.
Yeah, I mean, again, we can only guess. We can only guess. I mean, instantly, who's your worries? Probably McAllister is probably the biggest worry playing the 2 games for Argentina. I just think we're in such good form, Trev, and we don't look like a club who's just about to run into a glut of injuries, or our form is about to drop off a cliff. So I'm quite content. I mean, our next game is Southampton. Southampton is interesting in many ways. I do believe that they will get a big scalp this season. Because of the way they play. They have a lot of possession, and one day it's going to pay for them. I just hope it's not on Sunday, but I do believe they'll get a big scalp. I also believe they'll go down. But they do play in a way that some people are calling naive. It's the way they want to play. They play out from the back. They play with risk. They make a lot of mistakes, but they have an awful lot of possession, Trevor, and it can sometimes be a little bit frustrating to play against them. So hence the reason that I feel they'd get a big scalp, but it probably won't be on Sunday.
Well, we will revisit that topic in some detail later on, obviously, because it's our first match to focus on. But we'll have a couple to talk about, which is nice, before our next show. But just to sort of dwell a little bit and bring it back full circle to the whole concept of transfers and all the rest of it, you mentioned Alexis McAllister. Now, apparently the first of his outings for Argentina was very poor. Apparently he had a bit of a stinker. You could say, I think it'd be fair, Jan, that the guy who I think we'd all put our hands up and say is our best midfielder on the face of it, and has been very, very good for Liverpool since he signed in numerous different roles. He's had a bit of a falling off in form, and I think, again, most people could trace that to the fact that he never ever gets a rest. And instead of getting a rest this time, he goes off, has a bad game for Argentina, to continue a sort of a trend of not wonderful performances. And then I don't know how he got on in the second game, but I know he played a good chunk of it, if not all of it again. So much for rest there. And it brings me back to this thing that while the international break was going on, there were all these too many rumours, and it does make you think and sort of stroke your chin and go, Jesus, if we had one more in there to sort of spell in that was youthful and skillful and could do the combo of things that the other guys can do, maybe with a little bit of an extra edge on them when it came to defensiveness, that would be wonderful to have in the mix. And I have a simple question for you. With the long season ahead, and without jumping the gun, the realistic chance of challenging for this title, I know it's daft to say it, but we're in pole position, and there's no reason why this team can't hang on to it. We know this club and these group of players could do it. Do you feel that additions are necessary for this group? And just in the light of the international break and the little kind of fears that brings up, but what are you thinking when you think about the season ahead? I know you don't. I know you're not optimistic about January in terms of signings happening. You said that, and I get that. I'm not asking you to retread old ground, but realistically speaking, do you think this crew can do it?
Yeah, I think they can, Trevor. Are we fragile? No. I don't for 1 minute think we're as fragile as possibly Arsenal, because we've seen with the Odegaard injury what's that done to their ability to control games. So I don't believe we're as fragile as they are. But of course, if you want to win the title, you have to compare that to Manchester City, and you look what happens to Manchester City when they have injury and how they cope with those. Are we at that level? Probably not quite. So that could be a problem. And I do believe that our Liverpool fans now building themselves into a frenzy that to win the league, we need to strengthen in January. And more people are thinking it's kind of now, isn't it? A lot of people feel it's now. Whereas we all know Trevor Michael Edwards is looking at a far bigger picture. And so, I couldn't see him wanting to make a short-term signing. And a lot of his signings might just need a bit of time. So, yet again, I have to say that the two positions were really we're looking at potentially a left back, aren't we? But we got two left backs. We got two international left backs. So, Do you bring a third in, then all of a sudden you go 3? And then, of course, we're looking at the number 6. We're looking at the number 6 because we feel that Raven Gravenberch is the only one so again, the only one who can play that position. And will he be able to maintain the levels? We don't quite know. So they would be the 2 positions. I know we're being linked with frontmen, but surely we're not going to sign any frontmen, Trevor. We've got 5 plus Chiesa we haven't seen yet. So I just can't see that happening. So I think it's highly unlikely that we're going to go out and strengthen. I still think we can do it. The problem is Manchester City, Trevor. If you look, last December, they lost to Aston Villa away and everybody went, they're in trouble. They never lost the Premier League again till this season. And the season before, they lost 2-1 to Spurs on the 6th of February and people go, game on. And they never lost another game till they won the league. So that's what they're capable of. So my whole thing is that if I say to you now, Trevor, that City win the last 19 games of the Premier League, how do you respond to that? Because that's what they're capable of. So it's kind of, can we still keep them 5 points away from them if they win 19 on the bounce? I don't know. Would any signings be able to? I really don't know. We just got to, this game, Trevor, it's just over the week away, innit? It is absolutely massive on so many fronts, isn't it? You know, we can almost put City away.
Let me ask you about that specifically now that you've brought us there, and it's interesting because I was thinking that one of the potential hopes for us was that we could see maybe the empire fall apart and Guardiola sling his hook at the end of this year, but we just heard during the week there that he's extended for another season, and pictures of a big smiley Pep all over the shop, which would indicate to me, Jan, without putting on too much of a tinfoil hat, that he is quite content that there's not going to be any big fallout from this legal case that so many people have pinned their hopes on as some sort of justice search. In fact, I talked to my good mate today who's been a lifelong City fan, and I found myself saying, he was talking about, look, we've got the best lawyers. We knew that from minute one. Nobody had a chance. And I said to him, I've been saying that as well. And he said, maybe we'll have to pay a fine. And I said, how's this one, Al? What about if the Premier League has to pay City for tarnished reputation? I think it could go that badly the other way. So this is what we're up against, Jan. The reality that you've described, a side who now emboldened by the fact that they've got that thing in the bag and that they've got their manager who is a bona fide winner hanging around for another season, could go on that 19-game winning streak. It's kind of so intimidating for all the rest of us. But if any club can do it, Jan, it's us. And, you mentioned the front men we were linked with, Cherky, people like that. I can't understand that one myself. Also, the Chimeni one I mentioned. But you also drew attention to the left-back situation, and that Kirkes rumour is very, very strong. Won't go anywhere. I think he's been linked with us for so many reasons. One, it's the spot we need. Two, he also was signed, I think, or brought to the club, his previous club, by Richard Hughes, unless I'm very much mistaken. Yeah. And I think maybe had some sort of crossover with Arne Slot at Alkmaar. Again, I could be wrong there, but I think it was at AZ Alkmaar that he may have had a little bit of a spin there too. So we're in a good position to assess this kid. Again, not asking you to be an expert on Kirkes, but like if there was going to be a little patch applied to the squad, would that be adequate, do you think, something like that to give us a little bit of impetus, to just change the chemistry of the squad a little bit in January? Or do you think that would be underwhelming?
No, I don't think it'd be overwhelming because I think he's a really good player. You see a lot of players who play for the clubs that finish lower down in the Premier League, and you see good players. But the one thing you're after when you see good players is consistency, isn't it? So when I saw this boy and he came in and you thought, yeah, he's got some ability, but you've seen a lot of them. And then you go, well, where's the consistency? But the consistency is there now. I mean, the thing I'm looking at, Trev, is that who do we bring in from day one really makes a difference, from day one comes in and does whatever we need him to do, whether that's a defender, midfielder. Who is that? I don't see that. So what we're really looking for is numbers, isn't it? And also, strength in every team, every club, you can identify what's our weakest point. It doesn't mean that but every club has his weakest point. And I'm looking right now and I'm thinking maybe a left back, we could be in a little bit of trouble. We're not in massive trouble. So that for me would probably make the most sense if we signed a left back. But how would the club view that with the two we've already got in Tsimikas and Robertson? I don't know. Robertson, there's no other guy you'd rather that.
Looking for a pickup truck to get just about anything done? Look no further. The Chevy Silverado EV isn't just the most powerful Silverado ever, with next-level towing capability and technology. It also offers game-changing versatility with the available multi-flex midgate and tailgate, which means Silverado EV helps you carry large, bulky, and oddly shaped items up to nearly 11 feet in length. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Visit Chevrolet.com to learn more.
Chronic migraine is 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine. It's not for adults with migraine with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It prevents, on average, 8 to 9 headache days a month versus 6 to 7 for placebo.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Ask your doctor and visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
So, you want to be a marketer. It's easy. You just have to score a ton of leads and figure out a way to turn them all into customers. Plus, manage a dozen channels, write a million blogs, and launch 100 campaigns all at once. When that's done, simply make your socials go viral and bring in record profits. No sweat. Okay, fine. It's a lot of sweat. But with HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools, launching benchmark-breaking campaigns is easier than ever. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
At Sierra, discover joyous deals on great gifts for everyone on your list. Like cozy slippers, ski gear, fishing poles, bikes, large kayaks, even larger canoes. Whew. Which might lead to another discovery. Wrapping gifts is the only sport you need to stay fit this season. 'Tis the season to discover great gifts at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
He becomes Andy Robertson again, isn't he? You want that to happen for him, isn't it? But maybe it's never quite going to be the same again. And it's very difficult. It's very difficult for the manager, the coaching staff, and also for the player itself. You feel you're not quite at the level, and you think, well, I'll put this right. At some stage, you can't put it right anymore, can you? And maybe Robbo is at that level.
Yeah, I think that's the fear. But I think all of us would love to see him have a season where he can maybe not have to start every game and be really effective when he comes on, and maybe then wrap up his time with the Reds not being sort of constantly leaned on or having the frustration of not being a first team player, because that's a difficult thing. This is not really related, and I'll come back to current Liverpool matters, but I read an article earlier on. I wanted to ask your opinion on it. It was an interview with Dominic Matteo, and he was talking about how, I think it was in 2000, he had just signed a 5 or a 5.5 year deal with the club, and he was sold, and he was gutted. Yeah, he was gutted. He wanted to stay, of course. Within within the season, his teammates had gone on and won that treble, which was such a boost, I think, to the modern Liverpool era. That treble season, those cups under Houllier. So it must have been really hard to miss that, and it made me think about situations like that, where Do you think football has changed in that regard? Whereas I don't really see a player moving now if they don't want to move. I don't feel like we hear that now, a player saying, "Oh, it's gutted, I had to leave," because it does seem to have changed an awful lot. It seems like it's a comparatively recent time, and yet such a long time ago. You don't get headlines like that anymore, do you?
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. Ha. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
Dean Saunders in the back of the paper. Dino, you're going to Aston Villa? I'm going nowhere. Dino, the gaffer wants to see you 3 minutes later. I think I'm going to Birmingham. So, yeah, I mean, these things don't happen anymore to each other. But the key in those days was always the manager getting the player in the office, isn't it? And it wasn't to have a conversation about it. It was to convince the player that, listen, you're best off going. It's time to go, isn't it? Because later they would just go, you ain't going to play here. For as long as you're here, you ain't going to play here. That doesn't happen anymore. With whoever it is, you would sit down in the office and you'd go, what do you think? And blah, blah, blah. And then you explain. You would never say to a player anymore, you'd never be here again. You'll say that it's going to be limited opportunities, but it's up to you how you want to deal with this. We'll be more than happy to keep you. We would more be happy. And I think that would be a case with we have a lot of players that you would sit down with and go, listen, choice is yours. We're quite happy to keep you and you'll get your minutes. But if you want to go and play somewhere else, you still think you got it in it, you're free to go, isn't it? But no, that sort of fear thing that football was ruled by back in the day, that doesn't exist anymore.
Did Matteo cross over with you before you had left?
Yeah, he did, yeah. So Dominic was a young Italian, Scottish player. I remember first time we saw him, he was a left winger. And you thought, yeah, okay. And then, of course, he became a defender, and he was a very good one. And yeah, I was there with Dominic. Sad to see him go. But I also think that he looks back, gutted to leave Liverpool, but he found a second home, didn't he? He became a Leeds legend, and he's still in the area. And he's doing okay after his problems as well. So it is what it is, isn't it? I mean, he left at a time where there was plenty left in East Town, so there was plenty left for him to build a reputation as a new player. But yeah, I had a lot of time for Dominic. He got involved a little bit with Neil Ruddock. Probably a good thing he got out alive, But he was like Razor's boy, you know what I mean? My boy Matteo,
Can I ask you, man? I've got to ask you. I think I've mentioned it before. As a player, not necessarily as a character or a good lad or someone who's a bit of crack or whatever, because he comes across that way. But as a player, how did you rate Ruddock? Was he someone that you thought was fully achieved what he was capable of doing? Was he an underachiever for you? Was he overrated? Did you think he was really good? What do you think of Ruddock?
I think Razor was a decent footballer. I thought when he was at it, he was good. And I think that proved when he was at it at lesser clubs and he got his moves because people saw something that they liked. But he wanted to do other things as well, isn't he? He wanted a balance in his life, and football wasn't the most important thing. But But, he was obviously a big, strong boy. He had a great left foot on him. I mean, people talk about, and obviously lived on a reputation of being a real hard man in it, but he could play. And there's no doubt he could play. But again, you come back to, okay, he came to Liverpool at a time where we were inconsistent, so he fitted in quite well. But I guess if he'd have been there 5 years earlier, when the Hansen and the Lawrence was a centre-half, I hit an 8 out of 10 every week, he'd have been nowhere near it. So that was probably his biggest mistake. But on his day, make no mistake, Mason could play.
Yeah, I always just wanted to ask you that. I've got 2 more blasts from the past as well. I've been saving these up all week. You mentioned to me, and it's in relation to the idea of players leaving or wanting to leave or not wanting to leave or not having the power in the situation. You mentioned to me, I think in the first chat that we ever had, we did this interview, like 2-hour interview, and we put it out over 2 parts, and it was very, very popular back in the day when that happened so many years ago before we started this show. And one of the stories you told me that really stuck with me, because what was brilliant about football and shite about football back in the day was we knew nothing. We read Shoot magazine, Match magazine. We might read, what was it? That real World Soccer. We might read those kind of things. But that was the source of your information, and then occasional newspaper stories. Now, occasionally a player's autobiography would come out. I remember reading Mo Johnston's and going, Jesus, footballers get up to mad stuff. And that was a bit of a revelation. But most of them were quite tame as well, unless the player was retired. So we didn't really find out about football. And I remember being absolutely shocked to the core when you told me, and I think it was 1990, correct me if I've got the year wrong, that you had the opportunity to go to Barcelona. Isn't that correct? Or have I got that out of my dates?
No, that's true. Robertson, when he was at Everton, came to our Christmas party. Okay, now. I mean, we've had other footballers there before, but like Mo Johnson was a bit, we can't have Mo here, So the lads have gone, sort it out, So I had to sort, Jesus Christ, sort it out. We can't have him here. So, Anyway, 1990, Barcelona. Again, he came out the blue. And again, I had no desire. But I said to Barcelona to speak to the club, and if the club would agree to a transfer, then I would speak to them. The club agreed to a transfer that in the end didn't go through because of lack of money at the Barcelona end. But it did happen again in 1991. That's as soon as it came in. I don't know if I ever told it with the Everton stories. We sold Gary Ablett and Peter Basie to Everton, and we were basically all up for sale. Unofficial, we were all up for sale. And over the last few years, you sort of hear things. I mean, John Barnes agreeing a fee. Not John, but the club. Not the club either, sorry, I've got to get this right. Graham Souness agreeing a fee with Manchester City. Selling John Barnes and Peter Robertson, that's to step in and go, no. We sold Steve McMahon, we can live with that. But we're not selling John Barnes to Manchester City. And Celtic actually came in for me. Graham Souness tried to sign me when he was at Rangers. And then Celtic came in, Liam Brady was the manager. And again, the whole sort of financial deal was too much for Celtic. They didn't have the money to buy me and probably didn't have enough money to get anywhere near what I was earning. And Souness was a bit like an Everton, Howard Kendall bid for me, And the fee was 1.2 million. And I always remember a friend of mine was at Everton, he was a season ticket holder and he'd been to a midweek game. And when he came home, he rung me at 11 o'clock at night. Because in those days, you had to wait till you get home to ring somebody. There was no mobile phones. And he goes, you ain't going to believe this. I said, what? He said it was all over Goodison was signing you. And he was laughing at that.
No way.
And I was like, he said, what's up? I said, well, it's a lot closer than what you think. Howard Kendall had been given permission to speak to me. We played Forest, so it was late in 92. Was it? Our first game was Forest away. I think it was the year before. I'm getting it wrong. Maybe it was the year before. Ian, Russ and me are injured. And Everton became permission to speak to me. So Howard Kendall rings up Rushy and he goes, I know you and the big man are injured. Meet me in town. So can you imagine Howard Kendall, Ian Rushy and Molby having lunch in the Italian in town? Yeah. But it was, so. And lunch with Howard. Fucking eat. And I've rung my wife, Mandy, at 8 o'clock, said, you're going to come and get me out. And she said, what's happened? I said, I don't know. I can't remember the thing. And then I played on a Monday night. It was a third game. And I've done my cartilage, and cartilage is only a short time out, injured. But when you come back, you have to play a reserve game. But there was no reserve game, so I played an 18 game on a Saturday morning. And plan was for me to play 70 minutes. I played 70 minutes in the egg, and that came off. It was Colin Harvey, which was Howard Kendall's assistant. And they were everything all right, Jan? I went, yeah, fine. Yeah. He said, okay, we'll be back on trips. But I hadn't committed to wanting to go. So you know what I mean? Yeah. They were just planning ahead with it, and then they rung Sooners on the Monday. They said, listen, Jan is back fit player. We'd like to take him. And Sooners went, no, he's no longer for sale. And it was never, ever discussed again. It was never discussed between me and Graham. It was kind of just what was in football in those days. You know, in those days, managers spoke to each other, you know. So today, two managers would never ring each other about transfer, would they? They would ring third parties and whatever. But in those days, Howard Kent would have just rung up Graham Sooners. He's gone, I fancy the big man. And Sooners gone, yeah, he's for sale. We'll have 1.2 million. Yeah, we'll take it from there, you know, without anything being concrete, you know. And there were so many of those. Most footballers got these nearly deals, haven't they? That just never came off, you know what I mean? And the Everton thing was a bit. No, I wasn't hurt. Like, I know how football works, John. You know what I mean? And a new manager comes in, he wants to do his own thing. And the Everton thing at first was, okay, well, I can stay where I am. Don't have to move. You know, I have to take my son out of school and whatever. But yeah, the nearer he got, you think, yeah, no, I can't. Not that he made wonders for Gallagher, Esper and Peter Pearce, and they went to Everton, played ever so well. But I just felt, no, I couldn't have done that. But it never even got to the stage where I had to say yes or no. We even negotiated, you know. Sooners spoke to, as I said before, but Sooners were desperate to sell all of us. So yeah, there's another one. Everton.
On the back of Beardsley, which like nobody saw coming, and Ablett, I cannot believe that they had the barefaced cheek to approach you and Rushy in that way. That again, this is what I'm talking about, Jan. This would have absolutely blown people's minds if they knew that. And how in the name of God does it get around in Goodison? Like, who's on the ground there letting that out? That's wild. That's like. And by the way, can we just clarify something? Had Howard Kendall spoken to Souness to say, I'm going to bring Jan and Rushy out, or was it an unofficial kind of direct to you, kind of what we call now a tapping up kind of thing?
Yeah, it was an unofficial piss up, Trevor. You'd be lucky to survive, you know.
This year, Santa's bringing the power of Energizer into his workshop.
Whoa, the Energizer Bunny's got so much power.
Wait, he's powered up all the toys. I think that means we're done for the year.
I love this bunny.
He's the hardest working helper the North Pole has ever seen. And he wants all your gifts to have the power of the #1 longest lasting AA battery. So this holiday season, stock up on Santa's and the elves' favorite battery, Energizer Ultimate Lithium.
Add $179 million in total cash prizes.
Mom, what are you doing?
Mix in 3-parts bills, bonus boxes, and multipliers.
Is this some kind of recipe?
Gradually stir in a ton of excitement.
Oh, you're trying to make Ohio Lottery holiday scratch-offs, aren't you? Stop overcomplicating things. Just go buy all your favorites like Holiday Cash, Holiday Lucky Times 10, and Merry Money.
Oh, that is easier.
Uh-huh.
Now help sift non-winning tickets into My Lotto Rewards for a second chance to win.
Play Holiday Scratch-Offs. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and condition regulations. Play responsibly.
When you share your food, you share your heart. So what's on your table this holiday season? Save on your festive feast at Kroger with delicious deals on all the holiday classics. Or wow the crowd with something new, like a quinoa stuffed butternut squash. It's sure to add a pop of color to your spread. How about a sweet potato casserole with a crunchy oat streusel topping, made with care for the sweet tooth and the savory tooth? With Kroger, fill your table with love and watch as your guests' hearts get as full as their bellies. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Rushy said to me once, years in the 80s, he goes, do you want to go to Royal Ascot at the races? So, yeah, okay. I said, who are we going? He said, we're going with Howard. And we went with Howard Kendall. And it's like 4 o'clock every morning, out the gate. And 7 o'clock in the morning, he's banging on your door. And he looks brand new. He's had a shower. He was a handsome man, Howard. Do you know what I mean? Let's go, boys. And we're the happy family going. So, yeah, it was very much unofficial that we went out for lunch with Howard. But you can imagine what's happened, Trevor. Is that Graham Souness comes in. He's probably not slow in letting people know that players are available. So at Manchester City, you got Peter Reid as a manager. who obviously likes Everton, and he's thinking, look, I wouldn't mind a few of them. And you got Howard Kendall thinking, I wouldn't mind a few of them either. Kind of, on your sort of doorstep, and so that's how all that came about. But yeah, and you can imagine in the middle of all this trouble, it's Peter Robertson. He was club secretary at the time, but in today's money, he would have been a CEO. You can imagine him being absolutely mortified. The Graham Souness at the back, at the backing of the chairman. Peter would have, he wouldn't have been able to sleep at night with the players being linked. And if we'd all Barnes would end up at City now, whatever, with Everton or whatever. Look, poor man.
I mean, poor man, yeah. But as from the fans' point of view, we'd have been just done in. I have one last one for you, another blast of the past. This is a Stan Collymore tweet from the week. Did you see it? Have you heard this?
No.
Stan's tweeting, second half sub for Crystal Palace. Jan Molby punched me in the ribs in a corner, which I thought was the coolest thing ever, age 20. We lost 3-0. Liked it though, so I came back. This is basically him giving his first ever Anfield memory. Does that ring a bell?
I don't know, Trevor. I do remember us beating them 3-0.
There you go. He could have, maybe there was a gentle nudge and he's getting cheek. I love it. Yeah, exactly. You got to put lads back in their place.
There was no 28 cameras in those days. Trust me. So
or microphones.
Every chance you're going to get away with it. So listen, if you listen, Stan, and I know you listen to a lot of these things, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. But you're getting above your station, so
you can how genuine that is. Oh, amazing. We need to bring it back on track here, and just to wrap up with this whole idea of the current squad and making changes to it and all the rest of it. Got your take on Kirkes, and we kind of touched off the midfield and all the rest of it.
Yeah. So, but just to go back to Chimney, when we were linked to him and when we went to Real Madrid who was in charge of us then in terms of, was it Michael Edwards? I'm just trying to think, at what point would we be interested again?
I think it was on Edwards' watch the first time, and we were.
So I can see us revisiting because Michael Edwards obviously seen something he liked a few years ago, and just because he hasn't had the big breakthrough at Real Madrid, wouldn't put us off, would it? So it is an interesting one. Yet again, I have to say that from what I've seen, and it's only in the Champions League, I haven't been overimpressed. But that, as I said before, that doesn't mean that we can't bring him in and do a job for us. Interesting.
Yes, and the other one in that area was the kid at Brighton, Baliba, who's been mentioned as well, and a lot of people very high on him. One area we don't have to worry about, and this is sort of my token effort at mentioning international football, is goalkeeping. And we have the lovely sight of Alisson Becker back in training. We know Harvey Elliott's back in training. This is all great stuff. But to have Alisson back there is usually incredibly reassuring. On the back of Queeveen's incredible performances, it's not just as huge a relief as it would have been. It's obviously wonderful, and I don't think there's any question about the fact that he comes straight back into the team. But we saw Queeveen high on his recent outings for Liverpool, performing very well, and hopefully at this stage, pulling himself ahead of Gavin Bazunu for Ireland as his first choice. I saw a fantastic double save from him during the week to secure a result for Ireland, which, back in the day we wouldn't have even looked sideways at. That's how the mighty have fallen in terms of our international expectations. It's in the doldrums. But it is a really strong position for us to be in. I also saw a brilliant thing during the week where we saw a double save from a certain Mamardashvili, who apparently, again, in the international football, who is obviously looking very good as well. And we know the young guy who came on very recently there. He had to come on as a substitute and performed incredibly well. We just seem to be in a bit of a wonderful position there. So the question I was going to ask you was, when you look at it going forward, and assuming now like the deal is done with Mamardashvili, and you don't get a player like that in your books for him to come in and spar too long with Alisson Becker, the likelihood is you could see the almost unreal situation of both Alisson and perhaps Queeveen being gone within a season or two, because both of them would be looking like quite saleable assets.
Hey guys, it's Eddie Gibbs from Anfield Index here. I hope you're enjoying this podcast, and I'm sorry to call time on the show before it ends. In the current climate, it's tougher than ever before to offer podcasts for free. At Anfield Index, we produce over 75 free shows every month, which I'm confident is unparalleled in the LFC sphere. Whilst we'd love to offer everything for free, the production costs now make this impossible. That said, we don't want to follow the model of other channels and lock all of our content behind a paywall. So what we've decided to do is to continue offering every show for free, but cut that offering to 30 minutes on our longer shows. So to get all of our shows in full and enjoy the best of everything we have to offer, we really hope you'll consider supporting the channel and signing up at AnfieldIndexPro.com. For about the price of 1 cup of coffee, you'll get every podcast in full with 0 ads. You'll also get access to our LFC VIP community, where you can enjoy live podcasts, engage with our podcasters, and chat with other Reds in real time. So that website again, AnfieldIndexPro.com. Join today.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.